sure you're ready for this?
I'll do my best.
Your best? Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and the prom queen.
Welcome to the best soccer show. The best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go. It's the best soccer show where all the rules are unwritten because there are no rules. We are live on a Wednesday. It's Jason Davis and Jared Dubois.
We don't have like a first rule of best soccer show is something.
Well, yeah, but that's an unwritten rule. It's a whispered rule. Like you don't write these rules down. They just exist out in the ether. Like, not to make this a baseball show, but you don't swing at a 3-0 pitch when you're up 7-0. Apparently that's a rule, an unwritten rule that everybody should know.
Yeah, I don't know anything you just said.
Okay. Well, it's a major sport.
Like you could be talking pig Latin to me.
You always give me crap for not caring about soccer teams, and I'm always sitting on the fence. I'm also a well-rounded sports person who knows what else happens in the world.
Yeah, but do you have a team in baseball?
Yeah, I do. I don't really want to get into it right now. But
what is it?
It's the Boston Red Sox.
Okay, I want to learn how to tear you down like you tear me. So I need to start wearing Yankee gear on the show. That's what you're telling me.
That's basically what it is. If you were
so New York Yankees, do you want to send me any free gear that I can wear to make to trigger Mr. Davis?
By proxy, that would kind of make you an NYCFC fan. I'm just saying. They play at Yankee Stadium. They're kind of owned partly by the Yankees. Yeah.
Man, I don't want to be proxy anything to that.
You don't want to be doing anything by proxy. You prefer to be tactile, hands-on, everything.
Wait, the New York Red Sox, I know the New York Red Sox, the Boston Red Sox. The Boston Red Sox, I know they're part owners of Liverpool. Is there any ownership stake at all in an MLS club?
No. And it's not, it depends on how you look at it. Fenway Sports Group, which owns the Red Sox, also owns Liverpool. So do the Red Sox own Liverpool, or do the same people who own the Red Sox also own?
If your name is Fenway Sports Group,
yes,
an American owns Liverpool.
That's true. I think you're right there. I think you're absolutely right there. So in America, we know Americans own Liverpool. It's just whether or not the Red Sox.
You know who might be able to help us out with this England and American cross breeding thing we have going on? There might be a guest that can help us out with that tonight.
You know what? I love it when you do transitions for us.
I love it when you don't point them out.
What fun would that be? That wouldn't be fun at all. Poppy Miller, broadcaster, host on CBS Sports HQ for Europa League, Champions League coverage, is going to be on the show tonight. She is from England. She played college soccer in the United States. She has worked for the Charleston Battery, and now she is with CBS, and she's going to be on the program here. So we'll get into some of the stuff that's going on with that. Now, I have a question, Jared, and we haven't done this on the new show yet, right?
Oh.
We haven't done it on the new show. Am I right? Is this the first one?
BBD, I think so.
Am I popping the pick your poison cherry here on the program, or am I not supposed to fit it?
That's creepy. You could pick a way better way of saying it, but yeah.
Okay, what is it then? You always talk about prima nocta. I can't make that reference.
I don't know. It sounds creepy when you say it.
It's not right. Okay, so we haven't done that on the show, and I had this thought. It was obviously created by the fact that Lionel Messi apparently isn't happy at Barcelona because they got whopped 8-2 by Bayern Munich, and the whole thing has fallen apart, and they fired the coach, and now Ronald Koeman's coming in. People want out. Maybe Gerard Pique is going to play at Fulham. What the hell? So I had the Lionel Messi to Major League Soccer thing, while unlikely to happen, is at least kind of in the air. Like there's a hint of it. Like if you listen very closely to the cornfield at night.
There was hints of it even when he was happy at Barcelona. It's always been something that's been talked about.
Well, I mean that it's a little tiny bit more realistic than it was 4 months ago. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Agreed. And so the wheels start spinning. Ooh, where could he go? Like, where could he be marketable?
Yeah.
Where would he be happy?
Right. Exactly. So that's kind of where we are now.
So obviously, we would decide that FC Cincinnati is the right place for him to go.
Why do you do that to? How do you do that to Nikki Soup and Sauce?
By the way, okay, there's all this talk about Mario Götze maybe going to FC Cincinnati. Can you name a big name DP that's ever gone someplace other than LA or New York, or maybe Miami now.
Big name DP who's played somewhere else than those.
The closest thing is maybe Chicago with Blanco.
Does Danielson count in Dallas?
You have to a star both with beforehand and within a week of when you get here.
All right. Yeah, you know what? I don't think Darren Huckabee counts. Let's see.
Well, even Juan Pablo Angel took New York.
He did. He's a handsome man. He belongs in a major market.
He belongs in magazines.
Yeah. I think you're right, though. I think.
Listen, it comes down to
stop. This is a unique situation, but Didier Drogba did play in Montreal. Okay, that did happen.
True, that did happen. That was pretty very late. He was older than 33, though. I mean, I'm sorry, 30, which Messi is right now.
He was older than 30. He was kind of an old guy, but he also the francophone. I speak French. Montreal seems like a good place. Yeah. Anyway, we were talking about Lionel Messi maybe coming to American soccer. As I said, if you listen closely to the cornfields, maybe they say Lionel Messi. If you give him a big enough offer, he'll come. And then it was pointed out to me that Jurgen Klopp has been in the press recently saying, when my contract with Liverpool runs out and I'm not going to sign an extension, I may take a step away from the game. Like I may want to take a breather and chill for a while. And I can understand it's a lot of pressure at Liverpool. He obviously won a Champions League, won a league title, the first one since the Premier League started. So I understand all of that. And so I had this thought, well, maybe instead of stepping away completely from the game, maybe Jurgen Klopp could end up in Major League Soccer. Much less pressure here, Jared.
The dude said a step away, not a step down.
Well, but it's also less, again.
I picture he's talking about walking the earth like Kwai Chang Kang. He's
probably
not talking, he's going to go read Leaves of Grass. Like he's not going to, I don't think he's trying to take another position.
Leaves of Grass. Do you think Jurgen Klopp will write some poetry, or will he write like hard rock metal?
No, he's going to read Kerouac. He's going to be on the road, dude. That dude's going to have van life. He's going to have a Westfala that's decked out.
That'd be great.
He's going to go bang chains across the USA. That's what he's going to
do. No. He's not. You think he's that kind of guy? You think he's a little banging some chains out there on the? That would be amazing. If Jurgen Klopp did come over to the United States and we got him a Winnebago or a what's the big silver one?
Airstream.
Airstream. I saw one on the road. Pristine Airstream the other day. Beautiful. I would never really want one, but beautiful.
Super overpriced.
Maybe Jurgen Klopp gets an Airstream. He goes across the country. He starts hitting all those frisbee golf. What is it called? Frisbee folk land.
I hate you so much
what is it called again? What are they called?
Golf, and you know what it's called.
Okay, the disc golf courses, the finest in the land.
Okay, but get to your pick your poison here.
Okay, so the pick your poison. You said. Imagine a world in which Lionel Messi wants to come to Major League Soccer. Imagine a world in which Jurgen Klopp wants to come to Major League Soccer. Which one would you prefer? It's Klopp coaching in the league that could last 2, 3, 5 years maybe, and it's Lionel Messi playing in the league that could last a little while, but he's 33.
I would take Messi at 33.
Okay.
I just think that Klopp is cool and all, and I'd rather can Klopp run for president. I'd rather have that if he comes here, but it's not a huge attractor to me. I mean, it's great. I would love to have Jurgen Klopp in this league, just like to have a father figure. But I think Messi at 33 is still going to make every team he's on better, and it's going to be fantastic to watch. And I think it would be actually kind of hilarious too to watch all the balls that don't come back to him when he passes them away.
When he's looking for the combination, the 1-2s, and it just doesn't get back to him. Yeah, sure. I mean, obviously, you could get a lot of highlight moments out of Lionel Messi that end up on SportsCenter in a way that we don't get now, right? Since Beckham, maybe Henry occasionally, but even Henry is how far down the name recognition ladder from Lionel Messi is everybody but David Beckham that's ever played in Major League Soccer. All the big names.
The closest is Zlatan and Henry, but they're all behind Beckham. They're all behind Beckham, though.
Well, behind Zlatan, Henry behind Beckham, and Beckham behind Messi. I mean,
maybe not. I don't know, man. I think the average there's a lot of average not sports fans in America that still know who Beckham is because he has that penetration of that steely gaze.
Okay, the blue steel thing. That's what you're talking about.
I'll tell you right now. In 2007, my wife knew who Beckham was when she met me. Before I ever took her to a game or anything like that, I don't know that she knew who Messi was.
That's fair. I do, but I think it's obviously a different kind of demographic, right? Beckham's going to get the looky-loo. I don't know crap about soccer, but I know that guy's handsome. I know he's famous, or I know he's got the beautiful pop star wife, or whatever it is, right? Those things are out there for a David Beckham. Whereas Messi might get casual sports fans who don't know anything about soccer but know Lionel Messi is like
I think that if Messi was to come here, it'd be much more of a Zlatan effect, where you're the actual soccer lovers are going to tune in, and then there's also that celebrity factor as well.
But you know the difference is that Lionel Messi doesn't talk, at least not. I mean, obviously nobody talks like Zlatan Ibrahimovic, but he doesn't talk. So I wonder how much of an impact he could actually have.
Yeah, but Zlatan still had to talk. He didn't have the same thing on the field that Messi would have at 33.
You think? I mean,
you think Zlatan at 38 was better player than Messi's going to be at 33?
Not necessarily, but again, but Zlatan Ibrahimovic scored 30 goals in Major League Soccer.
Messi's not taking out a full page ad saying thank you, though. That's the difference.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. His personality is different, right? Lionel Messi's selling point is not his personality. That's not the thing that gets people in the door. What gets you in the door is watching him play.
And that's why it's a much more organic move to bring him here than to do something like a Jurgen Klopp or something like that. It should be about the play on the field. That's the best signing you can make in MLS, is one that's going to improve the product on the field.
Yeah, but that's not as fun, is it? I mean, it's
messy. It's pretty fun.
No. Again, Lionel Messi's different. He's an alien, right? That's the thing about him, is that he's so good that you can say that even if he doesn't do the personality stuff, even if he's not showing up on late night television, because he's not going to show up on late night television, he can still have as big of an impact as Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Because again, it's like getting Michael Jordan to play in the Spanish basketball league. It's that big of a thing, right? Whereas again, Jurgen Klopp, I would have more fun covering Jurgen Klopp week to week, I think, than Lionel Messi. Well, that's not the right way to say it, because I guess it would be great to see Messi. I just don't know how long that would last. Whereas Klopp could have a much bigger impact sort of over time, because now if Klopp makes that move just for fun, just to see what it's like, maybe other managers of his caliber are thinking about it. Maybe Pep says, I need to take a break. I'll go to Major League Soccer and coach NYCFC or something. I mean, they're killing him in Manchester right now.
Maybe Roberto Martinez.
You want Roberto Martinez in Major League Soccer?
I know we have someone we could ask.
Okay, let's go to our guest here this evening. Poppy Miller joins us. She, of course, is with CBS and CBS Sports Network, and a soccer player, a broadcaster for the Charleston Battery in the past as well. Poppy, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you very much for coming by.
Her voice is so much nicer than ours.
It's
so full of life and energy, optimism and happiness.
Oh my gosh. No, it's funny because my family think I'm starting to lose my English accent.
Ooh.
So it's funny when I hear people say, that it is still strong, because my family doesn't think so.
What's the word? What's the word you say that's like nails on a chalkboard to them now?
Trash. If I accidentally say trash instead of rubbish or bin, then it's just like go back to America.
Well, okay, so Poppy, you're perfect for this, because you came over here to play. You've been a broadcaster here. You're working for CBS now with all of the Champions League and Europa League coverage. My friend Jared is American soccer through and through. He does not care at all about European soccer. So I need you, as someone who can bridge that gap, to explain to him why he should be paying attention to anything that CBS is broadcasting right now.
Oh, well, it's just the best, because it's the best of the best that we're seeing at the minute. So how can you not enjoy it? And, for people that haven't normally watched the competition or don't watch too much European soccer, there has been no tournament like this. I mean, it's been a new layout, a new format because of everything that's been happening with COVID, and the games have just been so unpredictable. I mean, we are actually laughing about it in studio now, because we are just wrong every single match. So it's almost like if whatever we say, the opposite happens. I mean, who would have thought that Bayern Munich would have beat Barcelona 8-2? Mm-hmm. So there's just, and it's like that every day. So we have a lot of fun with it on the show, because, anything can happen. And for the underdog going into the matches, they're now just one game compared to two. So it's completely changed the way that the games have played. But I think that, for me, I'm biased the other way, because I love European soccer so much. So I, as much as I enjoy MLS and USL, and I've really grown to love it since I've been out here. I mean, everything here is just, so big and exciting. And honestly, America loves to do the whole event. It's not just about the sport here, which I absolutely love. But yeah, I would say I'm probably biased towards European soccer. But even if you don't enjoy it, I don't know one person that's not enjoying these tournaments right now.
Okay, so he's oversold me here a moment. Okay, it's not that I can't appreciate the European game or anything like that. For me, it's hard when I don't have. It's easy for me to get invested if there's an American playing. If there's an American playing overseas, I'm watching. You know, and I guess it's hard for me to have a team to follow and that kind of stuff because it's nothing like organic about it. It's not my hometown team playing or anything like that. So, question for you then, as a woman growing up playing soccer in England and seeing right now, and NWSL, you could say arguably, but probably the best quality league for women, and all the attention, all the players going overseas to Europe and England. What is it like? Is it the same thing where it's hard for you to watch NWSL because there aren't as many English players there as there are at the Arsenals and the Chelseas and the Man Cities?
I think for me, I've really enjoyed the NWSL because even in my, since I have been involved in football, I've seen it change so drastically. I mean, I could remember going to watch the FA Cup when I was younger, and these women had to have other jobs. So, I mean, they're playing for Chelsea, but they're working in the reception in the afternoon. And so for me to come to America and to get to see, and at that time it was changing as well in England, but for me to come to America and think, Alex Morgan doesn't have another job? Like, she's a full-time soccer player?
Oh, she has a job. She has another job.
She's a part-time goddess.
She's an Instagram influencer, Poppy. She's selling. I saw her selling Volkswagens today. That's her other job.
Okay, well, she doesn't need to have another job, even though, yeah. So that was a real shock for me because at that time it was either, play growing up and then go professional and have a job on the side as well, whatever that may be. I mean, even coaching. I mean, Casey Stoney's story was my coach, and she was the England captain at one point. So I think it's just so interesting to see how much it has changed. And so when I came to the States and saw how seriously women's soccer was taken, it was a real breath of fresh air for me because the NWSL is so good. And now England is, has a great league as well. And we're seeing more and more catch on. But I would definitely say that the US has been the trailblazers for women's soccer. And a lot of people in England know the American names as well, more than necessarily our own. So.
Well, it's interesting. So Jared just said, Americans going to Europe. Rose Lavelle Sam Mewis have signed with Manchester City. We're hearing rumors that Tobin Heath and Kristen Press may end up at Manchester United, which would be fascinating.
That would be great.
That indicates more ambition on the part of the English clubs when it comes to bringing in top-level talent. And there are other reasons why these women might be going to England. But what does it mean to you as someone who grew up there to see these famous clubs take a significant interest in women's soccer?
It's fantastic, and I love to see Rose Lavelle going over to England because so many times we see players coming over here. I mean, Rachel Daly being the perfect example. She played in England for a long time, and now she's playing for Houston. So I think it's nice to see it going the other way as well. So I'm really excited to see Rose Lavelle going to Manchester City, and we'll see who else heads over there as well. But I think it's just doing so much for the women's game in general. Having these competitive leagues and seeing transfers almost happen because it's not something that we've always seen in the past. And for me, America has always, like I said, been the trailblazers for women in soccer here. So it's great to see them heading across the pond to play in England.
One more thing while we're on the talking about England and growing up there, can you give me what's the best and the worst part about being a women's football player growing up in England?
Being professional or just in any
growing up being one, as a teenager, as a youth product, just from 5 years old to 18 years old before you go off to college. What's the best thing and the worst thing about growing up in that environment that's so rich in a way but not in others?
So for me, I think the best thing about growing up playing football in England for anybody is that it's free to play, which was also a big shock when I came to America. It's expensive for kids to be able to play on a team here. So I think that was the best thing that now I look back on and took it for granted at the time. But everybody is encouraged to play. I mean, I was even encouraged to play, and I don't think that that was always the case for girls, but especially, not all of my friends played necessarily, but now they are so encouraged, and there's a lot of girls playing football in England and in schools. But I think at the club level, everybody is encouraged to play, and it's not expensive, and everybody is welcome. Whereas here, I can't believe how much some people have to play club soccer. But then again, you had the scholarships here for college that almost makes it a bit of an investment, which we don't have in England. Not many people play soccer for universities and get scholarship money from it. And I would say that was definitely the best thing. The worst thing about it, that's a tough one to think about. The first thing that sprung to my mind was the brutal coldness, which obviously isn't that terrible, but I can remember being so cold. English rain is absolutely freezing. So those games where it was absolutely pouring down and it feels like ice rain falling on you in the snow on the floor. And so that was one that stood out.
I live in Southern California. I can't imagine what that's like.
He can't even fathom that there's cold weather anywhere in the world. It's like, how do people live there? It's like, I don't know. We just do. We just make it work.
You don't go in your pool in October?
Well,
but you know what as well? It rains here, but it doesn't rain like it does in England. When it rains in England, it rains sideways, it rains the other way, it's so cold. So I'm always taken aback by that when I go back now. But yeah, I think that is the best thing, is just now how many girls are starting to play football. When I started playing, I had to play on a boys team for a long time because there was no girls team, and now that's not the case. So it shows how far it has come, but also how far it still has to go.
Well, it was going to bring me to your choice to come play college soccer in the United States, right? You had an opportunity to do that. How hard a choice was that for you? I mean, I don't know what the opportunities were like in England at the time, and obviously university is a different kind of process over there. And culture shock. I want to know what the thing was when you got to South Carolina that you were like, oh my God, what is happening?
So it was really funny how I ended up coming out here, because I didn't really know it was possible. And I always laugh at this story because in England, I was at the time taking a big exam that was probably the equivalent of an SAT here, I think, or GED. So, I was at that age where I was taking a big exam for my next step in education, and I got offered to go and play for the team above me that I was playing for at the time, and my mum said, no, you can't go, you've got to study, and my dad said, no, you can go. So I got on the bus to go, and I never met these girls, and I ended up sitting next to two girls that were actually coming out to America, and they were going to Oklahoma to play. Ooh. And so I talked to them the whole way there and back, and my dad said, I got off the bus and said, Dad, I'm going to go to America to play football. And I did, and so I went through the same agency that they went through. And for me, when I was even coming out here, the plan, I never wanted to be a professional. For me, it was just really getting to play every day and to live an American experience. And to be honest, I didn't really know. I was just so excited from listening to the girls. And I actually had been offered to go out a couple of years earlier with them, but I had to wait to finish school and then to come out. So I ended up going to a small school in South Carolina, USCB, and it was just great because for me it was the perfect mix of getting to live in America, getting to play soccer, and having fun as well. So it was definitely a really big shock when I first got there. I was so homesick for the first couple of months, and I can remember I landed in Charlotte Airport where my roommate's family at the time met me, and I just had 2 suitcases, and I can just remember thinking, like, what am I doing here? I truly don't know anyone apart from my roommate, who I've never really met. And then I'm just, I was just so scared at the time. And so now looking back on those memories, it's interesting because it was the first time that anybody is really on their own when they leave to go to college. But for me, it was just in another country. But again, saying that, I had teammates from California and all over, and the US is just so unbelievably big compared to England that I didn't necessarily always feel on my own. But it was definitely a culture shock getting used to America. And everyone thinks that America and England would be very similar. But there's definitely a few things that threw me off when I first moved here and took a while to get used to.
Well, we're glad you're here, and I'm going to come back to the first question. I'm going to talk about the top level of the European game, the Champions League, the Europa League. And one of the big things for us, obviously, is to see Americans play in those competitions. Not so much the Europa League. We've been there before. Clint Dempsey's been in a final. He scored against Juve. It was a thing. But the Champions League is that next level. Tyler Adams scores the goal for RB Leipzig against Atleti to push them into the semifinal. They obviously fall to PSG. But we're looking for Americans to become crucial parts. And maybe you could widen this out to MLS products because there is Alphonso Davies at Bayern Munich. But what do you make of
claim him.
We can claim him. We totally claim him. His name is Fonzie. He's ours. What do you see for the future of the North American player in Europe?
I think it's so important to have players like that, and especially of this generation. We spoke to Tyler Adams after his goal, and he's just such a humble, hardworking, such a bright talent. So I think for America to get to have people like that, not only is it great for right now, I think it's great for the generation that's to follow, because they're really putting themselves on the map and really, making these connections overseas, playing for these big teams. And for Tyler Adams to score such a crucial goal, and he said it himself, he's not a goal scorer, so he didn't even really know how to react. And I thought that was just fantastic, because we're seeing them really come into their own. And Alphonso Davies, I thought he was one of the best players on the pitch. He's just so strong going forward, so great in the attack. I mean, he's connecting left back, right back to score goals. And for them to be so young and to be on such a big stage is great. And Christian Pulisic as well, another one for Chelsea that's really come into good form since the restart. So all of these players that are making a name for themselves overseas are only lifting the game for Americans. And, the American leagues here as well, which we're starting to see players are coming to play in MLS much younger now, and they're bringing so much talent through their academies that we're seeing in teams all over the world.
So let's talk about the CBS show. What you guys are doing is pretty ambitious with the time investment, the amount of coverage. When you were brought into the talk, what was the pitch for the show? Like, how was it pitched to you about what's the feel of it going to be? Because it definitely, you guys are trying to do something a little bit different with the products we've seen in the past, whether it be NBC Sports or something like that. What was the pitch to you, and how do you pitch it to others when you talk about the show?
Well, I think it's so exciting because we have time. We have so much time to talk about things. And for me, I think this is my first opportunity working for a network. So I'm probably taking it for granted as well. But Ian and DeMarcus and everybody that we're able to have on the show as well, we get to speak to people and we get to have interviews and lengthy conversations about these matches. We did a 2-hour pre-game today and an hour post-game. So we're getting to cover so much of the backstory, which I think normally you don't find because TV airtime is just so competitive and it's so hard to get. So I think for me, that's been one of the most exciting things, is that we are able to look back, look forward, bring in people that have had such an impact on these teams or that have followed them. And then we're also having so much fun with it as well. Like I said, we haven't been right many times because of how crazy this competition has been. But we've got Jimmy Conrad in, and we're going out to Fabrizio Romano, who's just always on top of the latest transfer news. So not only are we covering the games that we're doing that are on that day, but we're really trying to look at everything as a whole in the football world. So even if your team isn't necessarily playing that day, there's always some news that might be happening. And I think it's an interesting time as well, because as you get into this competition, the domestic seasons are starting in less than a month for a lot of them. So it's really starting to gear back up to next year, which has been a weird past year, seeing as we haven't technically finished this season yet. So for me, that has definitely been the best thing about it, is having the time, having the conversations, and having so many amazing guests.
I want to say that the fashion game across the CBS coverage is on point, and Ian's got it, and DeMarcus
Beasley's representing the USA, man. Beasley's representing.
Beasley's doing great. DMB is our boy. Micah Richards, all blue the other. It's great.
They look spectacular. It's funny as well because DeMarcus is sat just waist up, so when he gets up, we'll see him in his sweatpants as well. But he looks so crisp up top with his pocket square.
Yeah.
I honestly don't even know how many days we've been going now. But Ian and DeMarcus have had on a different suit every single day. So I'm wondering when they're going to run out and start to outfit repeat, but it hasn't happened yet.
I knew about Ian, but we're finding out that DeMarcus Beasley has a wardrobe that he didn't get to use very much when he was a player. Now, Poppy, we're going to end with this. We have a segment, a feature on our show. It's called Pick Your Poison. It's just a choice between two things. So I'm going to play this. I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, you have to choose. Jared and I have already had this discussion. To come to the United States, would you rather have Jurgen Klopp right now? Let's say or at the end of his Liverpool contract, he says, "I want a new challenge."
Yeah.
And he wants to coach in Major League Soccer, or Lionel Messi, who's already 33 but is still one of the best players in the world.
That is such a hard one. I'm going to go with Jurgen Klopp because I think that I love listening to him. I love hearing about him. I love his interviews. I think he's such a vibrant character, and not that, I think Lionel Messi could do so much, but I think Jurgen Klopp is just so unpredictable as well. So to have him in America and to see what he could do with one of the teams would be very, very exciting. So I'm gonna go Jurgen Klopp. I thought you were gonna say Jurgen Klopp or Pep Guardiola, which was so fun.
I kind of just want Jurgen Klopp to read me a book at night as I go to sleep.
But he's gonna be all intense about it. You won't fall asleep. It's gonna be
it's okay, man. He makes me feel warm.
Watching his interview when he won the Premier League, when he was sat in the hotel. I mean, he was just actually speechless, and he's just always so emotional, and I love that about him. So I think that I would just follow his team because I would always want to know what he's doing.
He would be fun. Poppy Miller, CBS on the program. Follow her _Poppy Miller on Twitter. Poppy, thank you very, very much for coming by. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. That time has flown by. It was so much fun. Thank you, guys.
Poppy Miller on the program. She picked. It was an upset of a pick. Jared, she went with Jurgen Klopp.
I thought you were gonna say she picked. I thought you were gonna say she produced. She thought Barcelona was gonna lose 8-2. I thought that's what you were gonna say.
I mean, I understand her though, and I'm with her in the sense that Jurgen Klopp would do the similar things to what David Beckham did, to what Zlatan did. He would be everywhere. He would be especially if he coached in LA or New York. He would be on all the nightly shows. He'd be on all the talk shows. I mean, obviously in the time of COVID, it'd be difficult, but if it was a normal situation, think about how much fun Jurgen Klopp would have with James Corden or Jimmy Kimmel or Jimmy Fallon. Come on.
Especially so with like James Corden. I love it anytime he has like soccer players on because he actually knows who they are. Whereas when you get some of these other guys, they sit down with someone, they have their publicist told them beforehand who they are. But
isn't he like a West Ham fan? So he doesn't really know good soccer. He just knows soccer, right?
I don't know if it's West Ham. I'm not sure that's what it is. But I mean, he just had David Beckham. Did you see the other day he and David Beckham writing a spin class together?
Oh no, they did a whole Miami Vice bit where I
unfortunately saw that.
Crockett and you don't Crockett and Tubbs. You don't love that? You don't love that? Come on. Actually, you know what? I even have this. I even have this.
I can barely hear that.
Oh, is it too quiet for you? I'm gonna turn it up more. There you go.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It kicks ass, but.
All right, let me fade it out. It's only one of the best theme songs in the history of television.
Airwolf and Knight Rider are ahead of it, I think.
Okay, but I said one of the best. I didn't say the best. Man, phone lines are now open, 717-727-BEST 2378. If you want to jump in here. Nicky Soup and Sausage on the program. Nick, he just wants to pop in and say hello to us. And you did have the James Corden. He is a West Ham fan. I was correct about that.
That is correct. Yeah. I didn't want to pop in. That's just the only way I can get the callers on the air.
No, don't do that. We want to talk about your license plates. Jared, about his license plate?
Okay, yeah. So somehow behind him, he has 3 official DMV like Ohio license plates. I don't know if I should say what they are on the air. I don't want people hounding you, dude. But
it's okay.
Like I asked him, were those minted by prisoners? And he said yes.
This is going to be on YouTube. People can look this up and they can track down Nicky Soup. And by the way, he's in the phone book as Nicky Soup and Sausage. So keep going, go look for that, right?
In the yellow pages under butchers and canneries.
It doesn't bother me that that's out there. I mean, I've put it on my Instagram when I got them. So I don't see a big deal.
By the way, thanks to Nikki for having us on Cincinnati Soccer Talk this week. It was nice to be on the show. So if you guys want to get a little bit of extra of me and Jason, you can head over there and listen to that interview.
They brought the
about
funny
20 minutes of us taking over his show.
20.
Yeah.
That's generous, Jared.
I even gave Jared a pick your poison on Cincinnati Soccer Talk. I didn't have the job, but I definitely did
host.
that. That
It was a good time. Appreciate you guys coming on.
717-727-BEST if you wanted to get in here and do the pick your poison. Again, this is for you too. This is Jurgen Klopp right now, Lionel Messi at 33 or whatever. I mean, which one of those guys would you rather have in Major League Soccer? There's some other stuff going on. Jared, which one of these things? Matthew McConaughey.
We didn't even talk about in the pre-show?
What?
Eric Ronaldo didn't even have a cup of coffee at New Amsterdam.
Yeah, but I kind of feel like I don't want to go in that direction. It's apparently family related.
I don't understand what's happening. He's bouncing around like a ping pong ball. He's better than that. He's good at Vegas Lights. I don't understand what's going on off the field, I'm assuming.
Well, I hope Eric gets a job, is in a job coaching in American soccer again very soon, because I think
I love watching him. He's fantastic personality in our game.
Yeah. We didn't talk about that. What we did talk about a little bit was what Matthew McConaughey is apparently doing in Austin, Texas right now as the Minister of Culture. Now, I feel like that's so
badass.
That is a title we should have given you a long, long time ago.
If you're a Minister of Culture and you're Matthew McConaughey, you have like a rosary beads with a weed pipe attached at the bottom of it,
Yeah. I mean, he apparently, so the actual tweets from Chris Bills in Austin are gone. So I don't have the quotes anymore. We do have a story at the Austin Statesman that's got a little bit of the information. Apparently, Matthew McConaughey had a call with Austin FC supporter groups yesterday, and he was shirtless. And there's a picture, and he was wearing the Austin FC beanie, which, by the way, in Austin has zero utility. Right? It's even worse than the.
It's like wearing the shirt of the band you're going to see.
that. I mean, he said stuff like, "We're going to chant MLS.
It's a take, man. It's an interest, and I get where he's coming from.
Yeah.
This thing is, it's going to be so weird and tribal to people outside of this country. They're going to have no choice but to step up and try to put us in our place.
He's saying like we're going to challenge the Premier League, and the Premier League's going. He did both sides of this. The Premier League's going to be like, "What are they doing over there? Why are they challenging us?" I mean, on what planet is this a thing that is actually going to catch on? But he's selling his product. I mean, he's pushing. There's no bigger cheerleader in MLS than Matthew McConaughey for a team that doesn't even have a team yet. They're not playing games, Jerry.
But he's the Minister of Culture, man. He don't need a team to do his job. He's just supposed to be drone up interest and get you to talk about him. And guess what? We're doing it.
He's doing it. So this was a thing I put on Twitter earlier, and I would love to hear from people if they have thoughts on Minister of Culture across Major League Soccer. If Matthew McConaughey is doing such a magical job in Austin, Texas, we should have somebody in this role everywhere, right?
He's the second one, technically.
Wait, second Minister of Culture?
I mean, I don't think the title was there, but Frankie Hiddink, that's what he does.
Okay. Yeah. You know what? That is true. I think he's an ambassador.
I think he's a brand ambassador, technically.
He's a brand ambassador. Minister is ambassador is like, oh, we're going to send you off to Thailand. You're going to be the ambassador to Thailand. Like, represent the United States. That's great. Okay. Minister is you are in the cabinet. You are there making decisions every day as part of the group. You are being asked by the president, what is your thought, Mr. Minister of Culture?
So one goes inward and one goes outward. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think they both have roles that go outward. I'm just
someone give me an org chart on this.
in the Austin FC.
I feel like this is the kind of conversation that happened on The Office between Andy and Dwight about regional assistant managers above or below the regional director of sales. Like, who cares really? But they're both fun. They make me like the game more. They make me engage with their teams. And I think there was talk at one point, I thought LAFC was going to put this kind of role out there as well. And I don't know if they ever filled it. I think they had a job posting out there for it, if I remember correctly. But more clubs need to do this. Now, granted, you're not going to have Matthew McConaughey walking in every day.
But I understand what you're saying. And I think LAFC does have like a street team kind of situation. They've got people who are working in the community, and you need those things. Okay. Those are important. You need You need people. This is where I think maybe your team has dropped the ball a little bit in Los Angeles, California, is connecting to certain groups in the
people like fans who like winning.
Well, I mean, wait, hold on, wait a second. They're not connecting to fans who like. I'm struggling with your logic. Tell me what that is.
They're having trouble connecting to people like me who want the team to win.
Right.
But unfortunately, this is Los Angeles. I need more than talent. I need stars.
Enjoy the party.
Enjoy the party.
What I'm saying is, LAFC did whatever the Galaxy did. LAFC did a hell of a job connecting to the communities in block by block. Wasn't that their slogan? Block by block, something like neighborhood by neighborhood.
Here's the thing: people are morons. They like shiny things, and they had a nice logo with cool shirts, so people supported them.
Don't do that. You don't need to call all of those people morons.
No, I'm just calling those people. I'm calling people in general, especially Americans. We're dumb. Like we'll go after anything that's shiny and cool.
What I was going to say is, while it's great that they're doing that work, and every team has a sort of cultural ambassador within communities, the star power of Matthew McConaughey is what I'm talking about here. And obviously he's a part owner. So that look, and you could argue LAFC has Will Ferrell, right? He's a part owner. He's kind of out there pushing he was on halftime during that MLS's back game, which was super weird. He wore the Ricky Bobby helmet. I mean, whatever. It was weird, just like this Matthew McConaughey thing is. Every club needs that guy or that girl. Who is that person for your club? Hit us up on Twitter at SD Soccer. Let me know.
Here's the thing. Do you go with someone that means something to your club, or do you go with just a figure that represents your city?
Well, so this is the question. Is that person already bought in, or are you going to have to sell them on being the guy? Because here's a good example.
Let me ask this to Nicky Soup and Sausage real quick. Nicky Soup and Sausage. If you were picking a FC Cincinnati brand ambassador or minister of culture, who's the person that exudes Cincinnati?
You can't pick the owner of Skyline Chili, okay? You just cannot pick that person. I don't know who that guy is, but you can't pick him.
Wow, that's a tough one. Couldn't tell you the owner of Skyline Chili.
I know.
Is it Katie Holmes?
Katie Holmes.
Katie Holmes. She's Toledo, not Cincinnati.
Oh, my bad.
That's his home. That's like actually where
those different places.
Those are two definite different places. Yes. Currently in that role for FC Cincinnati is Omar Cummings. He's like the cultural.
I think of Colorado Rapids every time I think of Omar Cummings.
Cummings is working for FC Cincinnati.
You get broken news on this show today.
What?
He went to the University of Cincinnati, played his college ball here, was drafted in the Super Draft by the Colorado Rapids.
Fun facts.
Okay.
We got Cincinnati fun facts tonight.
Look, as an old school MLS head, I appreciate Omar Cummings, and I'm glad he got a job in the league, and good for him. But that guy's he's not popping off the page, right? He's not marquee name talent. You need somebody who sells FC Cincinnati talks some shit, all of that. That's what Matthew McConaughey's out there doing.
Right. I'm not comparing him to Matthew McConaughey, Wilfer. I'm saying from a club perspective, what he's doing in the community. He's kind of their club ambassador. As far as like that guy who would be Matthew McConaughey for Cincinnati, man.
I just dropped this in because this is wild. Does Dave Chappelle live in the region, in the area? Doesn't he have an Ohio farm or something?
Yes, he actually lives outside of Dayton.
You should be SC Chappelle.
About 45 minutes.
Okay. He doesn't like to do stuff, right? Like he comes back for one Netflix special and gets paid $1 billion and goes back to his farm, right?
Yeah. Right. So he's a resident of Ohio. He would be a good shout, but I don't know how into soccer Dave Chappelle would be.
Okay, well, I appreciate you trying to convince me there's someone famous in Ohio.
I'm not asking you. You cannot crap on an entire state. You can't.
I can.
You already crapped on LAFC fans, which again I understand. There's a rivalry there. That makes sense. You can't crap on an entire state. That's
I got one for you. I got one for you.
An important state in the upcoming election. You can't crap on Ohio.
He grew up in the region. He grew up just across the river in Kentucky.
Actually,
I will count it.
I have one.
George Clooney.
George Clooney is it?
That's an international man of mystery right there. You get Clooney. I see your McConaughey and I raise you a Clooney.
An Ocean's 11 connection, man.
He's a lifelong Reds fan as well.
What movies have Clooney and McConaughey been in together? That's happened, right? What am I blanking on?
I can't think of one they've
Nick
been in
would
together.
not know one. He wouldn't have any clue. I'm asking Jared. Okay, you're not. Where the record?
I don't think they've been in one together.
I don't think they have either.
Okay, maybe they have not. I was gonna.
I'd watch it.
My joke for Cincinnati was gonna be Nick Lachey. That's going to be my job.
Yeah, he could be one, I guess.
I like this shout from the chat right here. The Connor saying Nick Raimondo for RSL's chief of culture. I don't know why, but that feels right to me. Like,
No, look.
you get that guy's the fan favorite, been there forever, died for the team.
Yeah,
and also just a good dude. But
he's a great dude. No. And this people. Okay, I understand you want to honor the history. You want to give the job to a guy who was a long-serving player with the team. That's why having Frankie Hejduk in Columbus is great. I want Frankie Hejduk to have a job at MLS. I absolutely do. I don't want that guy to be across the league, but I want the A-level marquee name, right? I want a bankable star, or as close as you can get for whatever town you're from. I don't know who's from Salt Lake. Is anybody from Salt Lake?
Yeah, I mean, I think the guy that's there now is Tan France from Queer Eye. There you go.
Oh, okay. I don't watch Queer Eye, so I can't.
What?
I don't watch
That's
Queer
one
Eye.
of the best shows on television, dude. Come on.
Okay, I got a couple here from Twitter when I put this out earlier today. Let's see. Michael Rappaport for NYCFC.
That is amazing. If you're gonna do like a battle with another team's like
That's what I'm saying.
Culture,
Can
who
you
can
imagine
step to Michael Rappaport?
Michael Rappaport and Matthew McConaughey going back? I mean, the styles are so different. It would be amazing to see them go back and forth, right? To see Michael Post Malone for RSL. I did see that. Did Connor say that earlier?
Is he from Salt Lake City?
I mean, somebody said it in my tweets, and I had
They legit have face tattoos in Utah.
Do they? Well, he probably got kicked out of Utah because of the face tattoos, right? I mean, that only makes sense, right?
Yeah, I get it. He probably had one
Excommunicated. Excommunicated. Joel McHale for the Sounders. I would be on board for that.
That's another good one. I would watch Michael Rappaport and Joe McHale go at it on Twitter over the beefs over their teams.
Yeah. By the way, the Galaxy have some stars.
Oh, Galaxies! I know who Galaxies should be.
Who?
Danny Trejo.
Oh, is he? Oh, that would be good. That would be great. Can you tag team Danny Trejo and Mers? I know you're not a Mers fan. I know a lot of people don't.
I don't know enough about him. But the things I've seen, I've liked. You know,
he's a rapper. So you get a rapper and Danny Trejo together, and I think you make magic that way. Atlanta United. I mean, they have a lot of options. Big Boy. They've got Big Boy. Donald Glover.
He's too cool for it.
Is he? Is that what we're doing?
I just don't think he'll come down to do that kind of thing. I think Donald Glover's thing is not being too into anything.
No, I know.
He's aloof.
He's weird like that. But actually, the suggestion, and he has been out there and he has done the driving of the.
I know where you're going with this, Ted Turner.
No. I was not going to go Ted Turner. I was going to go the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Actually, is where I'm going to go.
The Nature Boy Ric Flair. Is he still alive? I know he had some hard times.
No, he's around. He can.
You know, if I'm going to pick an old school wrestler, dude, I'm going with like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I'm not going with with Ric Flair. I want a dude who can take a 2x4 to someone's head.
But nobody knows Jim Duggan. People know Ric Flair. He's a legend.
You put him on the screen, people are going to know him in a second.
That might be true.
Because here's the thing: wouldn't you want to see Portland Timbers got the lumberjack cutting a big log, right, with a chainsaw?
Oh, yeah,
Tell me you wouldn't want to watch Hacksaw Jim Duggan with like an American flag stapled to a 2x4 running down the sidelines, like waving it. Come on, dude.
Yeah, I know. I think Portland can do bigger, and he's probably not from Portland, so I don't think it counts. I don't think you can can't just shoehorn him into Portland because he's he has wood in his act. You can't just do that, right?
I don't say it has to be Portland. I don't know where he's from, but someone do some research on Hacksaw Jim Duggan for me.
Yeah, Connor is also bringing up the fact that Rob Schneider is like a fan of a Mexican team and always shows up. I can't remember. Is it Pumas or somebody like that?
Sure,
Tigres?
I don't know, but that's awesome.
It might be Tigres. He's always showing up there.
Just saying you can do it.
Yeah, you can do it.
By the way, Deuce Bigalow is a low-key great movie.
It'd be like the Matster doing the Minister of Culture.
That character was horrible.
It was the worst, right?
It made every work environment terrible.
It did. All right, we got a couple other things we want to get to. You wanted to talk about Brad Guzan sort of throwing indirect shade,
some side shade, man,
on Frank de Boer. This is. I mean, give Brad Guzan credit because he found a way to take shots at the exiting manager. The manager just got fired as he celebrates and praises the interim guy.
That's a good way, man. You kiss your butt on one side and you're kicking the other butt with your foot on the other end. That's a really nice way to let me help you out the door, sir.
He knows what he's doing. He's playing to the audience because those Atlanta fans, they are ready to take a bat to Frank de Boer at every point now. They have to.
I totally get it. But here's the thing he's saying. The things he's saying are things like, oh, it's great. Glass analyzes games. De Boer wasn't analyzing games? It's like he's talking to the players and letting us know what he thinks. So communication was an issue as well with Drake. I mean, you can draw that he's not saying it, but he's saying it.
He's saying it. It was obvious to everybody watching that there wasn't a cohesiveness about us. There wasn't this is what we're doing. This is how we're going to attack. This is how we're going to exploit them. There wasn't any of that feeling during the time in Orlando. I mean, that's right there.
You see, he's not even not saying it. He's saying it there.
Yeah, no, he's saying it. Over the last 3 weeks, the amount of work being put in by the staff, the players, us as a group together collectively has been tremendous. From video before training to little conversations during training, before training, after training, having these conversations, talking about plays that happen in scrimmages, plays that can happen in certain exercises, understanding how we're wanting to deal with certain things that happen on the field. These are all good things in my eyes. These are all conversations that need to be had.
So again, someone like Frank de Boer, who has played at the highest level, the best clubs, and Euro through and through. I came up through the Ajax system, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Is it maybe he can't relate to maybe a lot of the things that he always had in the locker rooms he was always in? Was the soccer IQ so high that you had to do less as a coach? Maybe. You had to explain less as a coach?
Maybe, but also this has been thrown at Jurgen Klinsmann too. Like his remember at Bayern Munich how many times it was, you
just run.
Philip Lahm saying we had to figure out the tactics on the field because Jurgen basically did nothing in build up to a game and didn't. I don't think that's Frank de Boer because he did have a good run at Ajax, and I don't think you can get away with at Ajax just skating. Although they're going to win the Eredivisie more times than not. But he was found out at Crystal Palace and at Inter. I mean, he was found out in ways that were pretty indicative that he didn't have a plan. And yet Atlanta United still said, okay, let's sign up that guy. Like how
does he get a bad run? Because would any have coach done well without Joseph Martinez like that?
I mean, you get paid to figure out how to play without that player, right?
Yeah, I guess
and you still have two.
I don't know how many things he had in the managerial decisions at the GM level, but he wasn't necessarily set up for success with some of the moves that happened in the last year at Atlanta, especially since the offseason.
No, they had problems with roster building a bunch of guys. But that's the thing. It's also Frank de Boer turned off a bunch of players who wanted to be there before, suddenly didn't want to be there when Frank was in charge. Now,
I wonder if Julian Gressel will save more now than he was saying before.
It's always a Frank, by the way. Like if Frank comes in the room and you're like, oh,
Yallop,
get out of here. Why are we here? Frank's here. Go. This party's dead. Next party.
Frank showed up. Who got the keys? Probably Frank.
Man, who called Frank? Why did you call Frank? Damn it.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
717-727.
By the way, speaking of people getting triggered, man, I think Dennis Teclos is personally trying to trigger me.
Do we need to talk about, so there's a second reason to play it.
Get to the chopper!
What's the news, Jared? Report on your team.
It's like, it's not bad enough he brought in Chicharito. It's like he's personally attacking me because you bring in the star of the team that's my anti-team in Mexico, Chicharito. He's killed us in games, right? As Americans, American first, okay? And then you bring in Jonathan Klinsmann as a goalkeeper.
By the way, I don't throw this word around lightly. Okay, it means something. And as an older guy now, as an old dad FC, as the leader of Old Dad FC, if I say this word, it has a certain tone to it that I don't want to get saddled with.
Okay,
but there have been times, and he may have matured. Right, he was a young guy. He made some mistakes on social media. But when you think Jonathan Klinsmann, isn't the first word that comes to your mind punk? Isn't that the first word that comes to your mind?
A little bit, man, and I don't mean it like the Misfits or something like that. I mean, like, but here's the hard thing: as a Galaxy fan, who's the poster boy for LA Galaxy for the last 20 years?
Landon Donovan.
Landon Donovan is close to our hearts, a hero in our team, the captain of our team, the guy who scored more goals in MLS than any other person and he brought us championship after championship.
Yeah.
And you're going to bring in the dude that punked him, to use your word. You're going to bring in that dude. That doesn't sit well with me. And granted, their job is to make decisions on the field that are going to make the team better. If this is it, okay, great. But this is literally a dude that's going to be competing for second or third position.
Yeah.
It screams doing something nice for Jurgen, because Jurgen lived in Southern California for a long time, has a lot of connections in Southern California.
I think it goes farther than that. I
think that Alex Jermaine Jones would say there's a conspiracy.
I think Alex Jermaine Jones might be onto something, because if you're signing your Jonathan Klinsmann and Jurgen is still living in the neighborhood, and you got
just one step away from bringing in that Kraut commie of Jurgen Klinsmann, the friend of Angela Merkel. It's all part of the German conspiracy.
Angela Merkel. I mean, what would you do? Like, what would your response be legitimately? I mean, look, it's not like GBS has done great work. I think he's a nice guy. I think he wants to succeed. I don't think he has the chops. Could you imagine?
He's brought in every Argentinian there is. I mean, I don't think he I didn't bring a Boca player or some young Argentinian that's supposed to do well, but I just don't get what the system is. I don't get it. You bring in Chicharito. And listen, once again, I kind of feel the same way that we're talking about with De Boer. He got his plan. He got his plan pulled out from underneath him when Katai's wife blew up and went crazy. A piece that was supposed to supply for Chicharito was no longer there. But it's one piece. If you're one piece away from disaster at all times, that's rough. And you got to find ways to solve that problem. GPS, I just don't know what the identity of the team is. At least I understood when Zlatan was there, hey, we're going to cross the ball 50 times a game and hopefully something pings in. Okay. That's not really a plan, but it's what happened.
Well, if Jurgen comes in, if he takes over, again, Jonathan Klinsmann, maybe the leading edge, just a trial balloon. Hey, can we get Jurgen in?
I'm officially becoming a Angel City Valkyries fan.
Well, you can still be a fan of that. And
no, that's going to be my main club. That'll be my main club.
You're going to turn your back on Los Angeles men's soccer completely.
It's hard, dude. Like, how are you going to bring in Klinsmann if that happens? I mean, if it happened, I know we're going down a road here. But why else are you bringing Jonathan Klinsmann in unless you're trying to do a dude a favor?
I don't know. He was supposed to be decent. It obviously didn't work out in Germany. Remember, his dad got the job at Hertha Berlin, right? It was Hertha, right? And basically got himself.
No, it was Stuttgart. I'm sorry, Stuttgart.
No, it wasn't Stuttgart. It was Hertha.
It was Hertha?
Yeah.
Okay.
And basically got himself ran out of Hertha because he did all these things like getting his son into the first team and demoting coaches who didn't like his kid, and doing all this stuff. And maybe that's par for the course, but also it's like, are you really going to be all nepotistic like that?
Here's the way I really don't want for the Galaxy. You can't be the next dude to get grifted. This Jurgen Klinsmann has grifted every place he's gone. Like, he's convinced people he's sold magic beans everywhere he's gone.
Oh man, I can't wait for the LA Galaxy to be all about, new age medicine and treatment practices. And like, you guys aren't going to use any analytics. You're not going to use it. We
already had Bruce Arena. We didn't have analytics. Come on, guy.
That's a good point. Bruce Arena doesn't have any time for statistics. What are you talking about?
Come on now, dude.
Oh,
you got time for that?
Oh, God. I wanted to mention, you talk a lot about the rules around international players and dual nationals for the U.S. men's national team and the chasing down of them and all these things, especially the Mexican-American kids. Will they play for us or will they play for them, et cetera, et cetera? FIFA is getting ready to change the rule for eligibility when it comes to national teams for dual nationals, or you could be tri-nationals or thruple nationals or whatever that is, right? The new rule is going to be that players who are under the age of 21, if they have only played 3 or fewer games for a national team, and that includes meaningful matches, and they are no longer in the plans of that country, they can switch, Jared. They can file their one-time switch. So this opens a door.
It's getting so convoluted, dude. Like, but only 3 games if none of them are a final, like a World Cup final or a tournament final. So then it's only 1 game then, right? If I remember correctly. So if you've played in a World Cup for that team, even if it's only 1 game, you can't change. If I read that correctly, I believe there's a hierarchy of where your appearances were.
Okay. I mean, that sounds very complicated, just like FIFA. Like it sounds like something that
I just don't want wishy-washy stuff, dude. Like I just want to know a player wants to play for our team. One-time switch, I get it. When you're young, sometimes teams take advantage of you a little bit, convince you that you're a big part of their plans.
Right.
I get that. If you're under 23 and you've never made a meaningful cap, you can make it. But if you've played a couple games now at an over 23 level or a true level, I think it's meaning less and less to be aligned or allegiant to is that a word? Allegiant?
Sure. Yeah. It's
allegiant to a country.
It's a post-apocalyptic movie where these teenagers are, never mind. Go ahead.
Okay. No, I just want it to mean something. I just don't want to see people bouncing around all the time. But I also understand that as the Americans, we have benefited from this more than a lot of other countries.
Okay. Let's go to the phone lines here. I think this is going to be somebody who's going to take issue with something I said earlier when we were talking about Frank de Boer, and I said nobody really wants to be around when a Frank shows up. It's Frank in Orange County, Jared. Frank, what's up, man?
Oh, my bad, buddy.
Dude, like my heart like sank when like you guys say that. Come on. Nah, it's all good, man.
You're the one
Listen,
Frank.
I got the
rule, dude.
all right. Hey, listen. I got the perfect like social experiment kind of thing with that whole FIFA thing. I mean, let's just pretend for a while like you can do this. Ready?
Okay.
All right. Jonathan Gonzalez wants to come back. Let's just say if the FIFA thing, you know, however way it works, there's a way to get Jonathan Gonzalez back. Do you take him?
Ooh, that's a good question.
If it's within the rules, I mean, you're doing the same thing. If you don't, you are taking you're optionally taking a disadvantage that you don't have to.
Well, okay, this is all predicated on Jonathan Gonzalez being a legitimate option for the U.S. men's national team. So he has to have developed and is playing at a high enough level that you say we would be less if we didn't have Jonathan Gonzalez. Like we would.
It's not like Jonathan Gonzalez is down there in Mexico bad mouth in the U.S. like, oh, I would never play for that team. They're a joke. I'm so glad Mexico came for me. If he's down there saying that kind of stuff, then yeah, that's detrimental to the team. You don't want that to be part of your team. But he's not doing that. No. So if he has a skill set that can help our team and it's within the rules, we're gonna do it. Yeah. I just kind of feel like if you make a choice, you made a choice.
With American flag tattoos, bald eagles across their chest.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan, man.
You want guys that just go through life with the.
Why don't you though? Why wouldn't you want that? Don't you want a person that's going to be passionate for your club and country?
Well, because I think that one can follow the other. Like I don't necessarily think it has to be. Well, I'm super passionate to play for the U.S. before I actually represent the United States or any country for that matter. Like I think you can say, this is my best option, and this is a difficult world. And as I've described before, it's all about power dynamics. This is why obviously Sergiño Dest was such a big deal because he chose to play for the worst country that he was eligible for. But
here's the thing: this rule could also take Sergiño Dest back away from us.
It could. Absolutely, you're right. This could be a double-edged sword for the United States. But what I'm saying about the passion thing is that you can feel connected without being like rah 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 or USA, and then build into that. I think Ernie Stewart's a good example.
I don't need you to have a monster truck tattooed on you going over like a car with a Mexico flag on it.
Someday.
I just need you to be passionate on the field. That's all I care about.
Well, but I think that's possible.
Passionate on the field.
Again, I think sometimes American fans get wrapped up in this like, oh, he doesn't really want to play for us. Well, screw him. No, look, if you're good enough and you want to play for us, regardless of the level of that, come on in. If you don't put in the effort, if you don't put in the performances, guess what? You're not going to play for us for very long. It's going to take care of itself. I mean, I know conceivably.
Is there a line in that FIFA press release where it says somehow we can get Alphonso Davies?
It does not talk about stealing players.
Is it like there's no like, you know how you have that list with your wife of like you could hook up with them and it's for freebie, you know?
The freebie list. Yeah, sure.
Like, can we just put like it's kind of like that discovery tag that MLS has. Like,
yeah,
you probably never get a chance at that person, but hey, if it ever happens, this is my one.
We do need a discovery list. If you could have a one-time switch, I mean, if you had a one-time switch and you get to recruit somebody who's not even eligible for your country, yeah, I mean, absolutely, let's do that. Let's see. That's
who'd be your freebie?
Oh man, who for the player that I would?
Yeah, you need to pick a player under 23 that you could grab, put on your list as a freebie that would help the U.S. national team.
I need a little bit more structure here. Is this anybody in the world? Or are we
Let's
talking?
Say it has to be North American. It has to be somewhat geographically close.
That's a really.
So, what is there a Mexican or Canadian or something like that you would pick that you would want to say, I'm claiming putting a tag on him?
I like Alphonso Davies a lot, but Jared, we got a big hole up front. I'd take Jonathan David. I think. I think I'd take him.
Now he's playing with Timothy Weah now, right?
He is going to play with Timothy Weah at Lille. So maybe Tim Weah becomes that guy. I don't think he's a center forward, but we do need that striker. Jonathan David sitting right there up in Canada. Man.
See, I told you last week, dude. Like Canadians got it going on, dude. Like there's something.
And apparently the man is eligible for the United States. Look, it's right there in the chat.
What the heck?
Jonathan David is eligible. So
he's got 2 first names, dude.
You don't trust him then? Is that the problem?
I don't know, dude. It's either baller or suspicious, and I can't always figure out which one it is. Like Jonathan David, it kind of sounds like you're in a.
You wouldn't trust a guy with 2 first names, but you do trust a guy with a French last name in America. I'm supposed to trust that guy? What the hell?
Are you talking about me?
Yeah, I'm talking about you, Dubois.
What, like you basically like your last name isn't like a Native American name. Yours came from somewhere too. I don't know where Davis is from.
It's Welsh.
Oh God, the country inside a country? That's gross.
How many countries are in this country, right? That's your favorite new show.
Did you watch it yet?
I have not watched it. I'm not an Apple guy. I got to figure out a way to get access.
Can someone just give Jason a code of some kind to watch Ted Lasso?
You have a Roku.
I do have a Roku. What does that mean?
You can watch it on. There's an Apple TV Plus channel on Roku.
But you still have to have a subscription, though.
Right, $5.
I just told you. We went over this already.
Jason's on a radio show. You think he's got $5? He's got a baby on the way, dude.
You know that they have a radio show?
Patreon.com/JD and the Rod.
Yes, please go support our show so I can pay for Apple TV so I can watch this show where a football coach goes to England to be a soccer coach.
It's better than you think.
That is, connect those dots. I know. I'm sure the show is better than I think.
Can we get Jason Sudeikis on here?
We do need to get Jason Sudeikis on this show.
So you can tell him all the reasons why you're not watching his show.
We need Matthew McConaughey on this show. Where is Matthew McConaughey?
That's all right.
Okay. Anything else? We're basically out of time. We're done here. We mentioned the U.S. World Cup draw at some point. Maybe pre-show mentioned it. It's not the draw. It's just like a schedule, and they're probably going to play.
I know the dates to plan to take off work.
That's basically what it is. It doesn't feel real yet, right? It's not
the first games are in June.
I know they're a long time away. They're far away. By that time, I'll have another kid. It's so far away. I'll be old. Dad FC will have players already.
Dude, what's the most likely American soccer player that you would name your son after?
We may have a discussion about this down the line. I think you're going to be disappointed in me. I'll tell you.
Marcus Davis?
No. That would be amazing. I would be totally on board with that. But we might be going in a less. Not the American's not the right word. We might be going more trending towards her culture than mine. Let's just say it that way. Okay. All right.
Hercules Davis. I got it.
No, but you can't say Hercules. You got to say Hercules.
Oh, you can do that. I can't do that. It sounds wrong if I do it.
Lots of things sound wrong when you say them. Anything else, Mr. Dubois? Anything we should share?
That's it. If you guys haven't figured out yet, 2 shows a week, and we're gonna be doing this all the way through August. And so definitely make sure you're out there, subscribed, take a look. Our show times will be Sunday night at 9:00, Wednesday night at 9:00. If you're catching this on the podcast, you always wonder, man, how could I call in or how could I listen live or something like that? Definitely follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, The Best Soccer Show on Instagram.
Go find the YouTube page. All right, we need subscribers. Go subscribe. I got a couple of things. This is like homework. Obviously the Best Soccer Show is back, and we need your help. One of them is the YouTube page. Go be a subscriber so we can get the numbers up and do a custom URL and all that stuff that comes with that. That would help Nicky Soup and Sausage a lot. He loves that kind of stuff. Also, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, ratings and reviews. We did over 100 in like a week.
One of the reviews called us. They said their wife called us the Beavis and Butthead of soccer.
You talked. Did you mention this already?
We did on the show. I don't think we did on the show.
You mentioned this. We already talked about. You're getting old. You're also part of Old Dad
FC. Okay?
So go to Apple Podcasts, put in a rating, put in a review, give us a couple words, shout out, I don't know, your favorite drop or
Nicky Soup and Sausage,
Alex Jermaine Jones or Nicky Soup and Sausage or whatever it is.
And y'all can see, but Nicky's raising the roof right now.
What else? What else? Anything am I missing? Bestie Soccer on Twitter, The Best Soccer Show on Instagram.
That's it, guys.
That's it. That's the whole thing. Nikki Soup and Sausage is out as well. All right.
I'm just gonna say Cincinnati's gonna beat your DC United on Friday night. Oh, that's right. You don't have a team.
My
Fence sitter.
who? What the hell? We'll see you guys. We'll see you guys on Sunday. Bye.
Danger zone! Oh, baby! Oh, baby!
Well, nobody going to Barry for about 45 minutes.
Who asked those questions? You got to coordinate. Yeah? How to feel respect for the game?
Duh, and or hello.
It's incredible! It's all real! Please, what are we doing?
Eddie, what have you done for me lately?
Get to the chopper!
Michael freaking Arasco Fiscal.
Jay Rodius.